So the next thing is I need to go through this with the auger and make a little dimple on this tenon, which I'll then also auger out. Okay, so I made those little dimples on the tenon. In timber framing, in woodworking in general, there's a concept known as draw boring, where two pieces connect. Sometimes, you know, you bore the hole through, and it goes straight through, and then you put your dowel or your pin or whatever you want to call it in there, and it ends up like your joint ends up with a little space. You know, it could be a big space, could be a little space, like you're off a little bit, or even maybe it's just kind of in there, but there's just a little wiggle room. Draw boring means you actually like, you offset the hole in the tenon by like, some people say 1/8 of an inch, like for timber framing, but it can be a lot less. On something like this, I'm gonna offset it by like a 32nd, because I do need to be able to take this model apart. I can't have it like extremely tight, but it'll like cinch up this into the mortise. So it kind of cinches it in there. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so here is the little dimple there and there. So I'm gonna actually bore it out just a tiny bit over. So like right, dude, a tiny bit right there. Okay, there we go. So we got these 1/4 inch holes. Next thing I'm gonna do is take this square stock. I think it's like 5/8 or 3/4 inch square. And I'm gonna use this dowel plate. And essentially I'm gonna turn the square into a circular dowel going from 3/8 to 5/16 to 1/4. Now we'll move it to 5/16. There we go. Did my draw bore work? Let's see if it's loose. You know, to be honest, that's a little loose. That should actually be tighter there. So that means that I actually did not offset the hole in the tenon enough. We'll see what happens down here. You kind of get two chances, kind of. I like kind of a rough look on these, so I didn't want to like, you know, you can bevel these edges up here, to get that kind of green and green square peg look. But I like it to just look kind of rough. Also for this timber framing project, certain aspects of it are going to be rough. So I want these kind of like unfinished, just straight edges. So just kind of get them started. There's no wiggle room, there's no play here. It's totally rigid. Now I'm gonna go do the same thing down here. You've already seen the process, so I'll just jump through a couple things. Got to make sure it's all in there, in the grooves, which it is. It would have been good if I'd had video of this happening, but before I started hammering in the pegs, there was a little gap here. Even if I would have squeezed it tight, there still would have been a little gap. But having the draw board hole in there basically made it so that as this drove down through the mortise into the tenon, it just pulls this whole beam towards this post, and it really tightens up this seam right here. So same thing over here. As you can see, there's some examples where that I didn't do it well enough and that didn't work out, but it worked out real well here. There we go. I just need to saw these off, but I'm gonna leave that till the end. So now we got walls permanently. And there we go. Walls